Hello everyone, I am Dr. Anju Mehta, faculty and PhD advisory committee member for the Distance and Blended Learning Program, School of Business Management for Texila American University. In this video today, let me take you through the contextual insight of the concept of gap analysis. Gap analysis for effective leadership and decision making encompasses a comprehensive process to identify, understand, address, and bridge gaps in any organization. A leader must look for a way to evaluate the organization's current processes and make improvements that help achieve the desired business goals. Gap analysis therefore becomes an indispensable tool for effective strategic management in a company or in a sector. Over the past 14 years, I have grown and diversified with the education sector, and I stand a witness to the metamorphosis of the education sector across the globe. There have been massive transformations that have impacted the teaching learning process and changed students' lives. The last decade has witnessed new paradigms in the education, changing the way the students engaged in courses and content, and this has particularly been so in the higher education programs. The main objective of every education institution is to identify the strengths and gaps of the students before they complete their education, and of course, offer employment opportunities to them who are in the finishing stage of their course. It is the responsibility of the institution to craft the students on all aspects of their career growth and assist them in getting positioned in their dream organizations. Now, to meet this objective, improving the quality of delivery is one of the biggest challenges for the educational institutions. For example, redesigning the curriculum to keep pace with the global content to context needs and action based learning. It has led to strategic alliances, shared beliefs, and shared learning. And I have closely worked with designing the competency model process, which was being outcome focused and has facilitated in creating practical content for undergraduate as well as postgraduate management courses. And this has come from the findings of purposeful gap analysis in traditional content delivery. I've worked with several universities of repute across the globe, like the Kesey International University, the Regenesis Business School, the Young Scientist University Online, of course, Texila American University, apart from the Link Education, and I have facilitated the delivery of graduate and doctorate courses and exhaustively created the curriculum and content. As a team lead and a process trainer for academic support vertical, I've been seamlessly working on the need gap analysis to identify the quality parameters for progressive content and mode of delivery of that content to the benefit of both the organization that I've worked for as well as the students to whom I owe a professional as well as a moral responsibility. So, what is this gap analysis? You know that gap analysis is a comparison between the actual performance or the results which were expected or desired. Now, this method, it provides us ways to identify the suboptimal or the missing strategies, the missing structures, the missing capabilities, the missing processes, practices, technologies, skills. And having identified that, recommend steps that will meet the company goals. So basically, what we are doing is we're comparing the current state with the target state, which the companies, the business units, or the teams they will use to determine what they need to work on to make their performance or results better and get on the right path quicker. Companies use this gap analysis process to elevate the individual or team performance, look at the attributes such as maybe the task competency, performance level, productivity. We also call it the need gap analysis. You must have seen this kind of analysis being done for a myriad of business areas, but what we commonly look at this for is maybe a new product launch, productivity, supply management, maybe looking at the sales performances, individual assessment, or maybe some kind of a product evaluation. To put it in simple words, how is it done? What we really do is that we identify the area or the goal that needs to be accomplished. Then we define the ideal future state. This is what we want. Then we define the current state and we compare the current state with the ideal state. Now, this difference is the gap, and we quantify this gap. It's been 9% better, it's been 20% less, and so on and so forth. And on the basis of these findings, what we do is that we come up with recommendations and we create plans to bridge these gaps. So, haven't you, as I spoke, haven't you thought what is the key for a good gap analysis? Setting the smart goals. So, we should be having certain specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and of course, time bound goals, without which a gap analysis would be ineffective. Let me share an interesting gap analysis that I have been a part of in the online education program and its effectiveness in reducing the attrition in online learning and how this is beginning to redefine the education of tomorrow. And I'm sure you would relate to it. This has led to a revolutionary online academic support that's been given by an education organization that I've closely worked for, which is based on an Australian case analysis. So, what was seen was that Australia has been a witness to a significant increase in the online enrollments in the recent years. The problem, however, was that non completions, early retreat of the online students, which has been over 30%, as per the report that Texila had given in 2017. Now, this raises issues for the institutions. How? As it leads to financial costs associated with the dropouts. Of course, the failure and non continuation, the potential institutional reputational damage, and then, of course, the fact that it fails to meet the Texas threshold and demonstrate a parity between the face to face and the online instruction. And several Australian institutions have taken affirmative action to address these issues. So a lot of analysis was done, and one approach that was zeroed down on was the providing proactive and one-on-one personalized academic support. This could lead, and of course, this had to be based on some anchored, specialized, technology-assisted student engagement strategies delivered by qualified academicians. It could lead to some kind of a parity between the face-to-face and online education. So a very exhaustive gap analysis was done. And where it was the gaps that were identified were that early individualized telephonic communication in the online units, it does influence the student behavior. Further, individualized and ongoing tutor support and guidance, it influences the melts or the other forms of attrition in the online learning. And of course, individualized and ongoing tutor support and guidance, it did influence the unit completions. So, these were the key gaps identified, and on the basis of this gap, an entire system of providing online academic support was set up where qualified fellows, they were given exhaustive training. Their roles and responsibilities were defined. They were apprised of the student needs and challenges. Then some proactive strategies were curated. They were told how to manage the entire content delivery online. And it was seen that if they provided proactive online support, the interaction was early and it was continued communication. If the response time to the students was, let's say, an hour or less, and then, of course, their roles were defined very clearly, it was seen that for universities where this online academic support was given, the attrition rate was less than 10%. For those who had done it partially, the attrition rate was around 20%. And then for those who did not, were not a part of this academic support program at all, the attrition continued to be over 30%, which in turn implies that identifying the right gaps led to the evolution of a new online support practice altogether and made this online support very, very purposeful, both for the universities, the organization providing, as well as for the students. Interesting, isn't it? So, a good manager always starts with two key questions: where are we? And where do we want to be? to strategize the progressive path with the organization, and of course, lead the change. So, at this note, I wish you all best of luck, and of course, best of luck to the leader in you. Thank you. Bye bye.